everybody, and welcome back to another 6-scale figure review with me, your host, that Mania. And today we have the second to last of the currently purchasable Guardians of the Galaxy from Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and probably the second to last of the Guardians we'll probably ever see from Guardians of the Galaxy 3, since I doubt the last two will ever be made. Now we finally have Star-Lord. I've been super excited for this one because the sculpt is drastically different than the last like 4 Star-Lord sculpts that have been made. There's been some real updates to it, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how it looks. And just like all the other boxes, this one's thematic to having like that I don't really know how to describe the theme here, but it does match the theme of all the other boxes, so that's good. Keep the line consistent, and I'm happy with the box. It doesn't show the figure in the slightest. That is an actual just picture of Chris Pratt. I refuse to believe that is the figure, because it's definitely not. But it's a nice orange tone all the way around. You got some like, music-y kind of feeling to the back. And all the way around. Anyway, I really want to get this guy out of the box, so let's do that right now. Those headphones are a pain to get in, and it was perfect. And right as I clicked record, that left one fell out, and I'm pretty bummed out about it. So I'm not going to fix it. It's just going to sit there and you can stare at it. But just like Rocket and just like Rocket, the suit looks really nice. I like the way it fits on him. It's got a nice, more, unified team feeling to it. Super happy about it. I do wish that I had done the smart thing that I saw some other people doing, and I picked up multiple of this guy. Because then you could put, your Adam Warlock in one. You could get your dog hair off of your Star-Lord, please. As some people put Adam Warlock, that third party. You could put the head on there, it's the neck. And you could put him just like at the end of the movie. Some people took their Guardians 1 Drax, and they put that in there, the body and everything. And it looks pretty good for the most part. But I did just get him. And I got one of each, as I usually do. Because I wasn't even thinking about something so smart and creative. But he does look really good, and I do want to get him off of the spinning turntable so I can talk about him a little bit more, because I am quite happy with the way this turned out so far. So why don't we do that right now? So obviously, just like we saw in the previous part of the video, he does come with a few accessories, one being his Zune with headphones, which plug in somewhat to his ears. You really got to make it work for you. It can work for you, but it's a little finicky. We've got his 2 guns, which do plug onto the sides of his hips on the side, as you can see those little pieces right there. They do also have some blast effects, which is kind of nice. So you can get some choo. Hold on, ready? We can get some pew 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 action, which is always fun. I like blast effects. They definitely add a little bit of life to the figure. And then that's about it for accessories. Since he didn't have the mask in the movie, it was just all Chris Pratt the whole time. Anyway, let's talk about Chris Pratt here real quick, because I really do like this sculpt. Obviously, it's not as crisp as the prototype, because they never are. That's just how these things go. You're never going to get the prototype coloring for a sculpt like this, because it just gets changed during production, because it's not the exact same quality. But for the most part, this sculpt is still really, really good. And just for comparison's sake, if I can find it here, this is the previous one, which isn't bad, but you could definitely see Chris Pratt a lot more in the new one. They've been using this sculpt forever, so it's nice to see they finally updated it a bit to match it a little bit. The hair does look a little bit thicker than it should, but it's definitely nice to see that the head sculpt is... Where are you going? It's definitely nice to see that the head sculpt is finally being updated at the end, They fixed it in the 4th, truly. I'm just happy it got changed at all, because I was really worried that if they did this, they would just release the same head sculpt they've been releasing forever now, And I'm just sick of that head sculpt. But I'm super happy with the sculpt. It does come off. It separates right here at the line, and it does have rolling eyeballs. But I'm not a huge fan of the rolling eyeballs. Here it does look a little bit better though, because his eyes aren't as bug-eyed and wide. So it doesn't look as unnatural when he's like staring and you're moving his eyeballs. But I am quite happy overall. And then I really like this outfit. Just like with Rocket, there's a lot going on here. There's nice color breakups. There's nice breakups in the design. It does get a little overly complicated, I'd say, in the arms here with a lot going on. Just different shades of blue and the black lines. But in the grand scheme of things, it does come together well enough where I'm not too complaining about it. I like the flap. Get back up there. I like the way the flap looks. I love this collar piece, which I'm keeping the wrapping on the neck just in case, so I don't want any color rubbing off onto his neck there. And it's really not noticeable depending on which angle you're looking at it from. We got our asymmetrical shoulder here, where one side is just that, and it comes out a little bit more on this side, which does look nice as well. We just got a lot going on here, and it's very similar to Rocket. Obviously, Rocket is a bit smaller, but the outfit design is pretty similar for all of them. So you're going to get a pretty similar bang for your buck with a lot of them. But I just like the way the blues and maroons look overall, because it's a nice crisp dark blue with a nice good looking maroon. A lot less on the back. But I mean, who's really looking at the back? You do get some splashes of a little bit of a light blue there. Not a lot, but you can definitely see it a lot more on the camera. It's really vibrant on the camera for some odd reason. It's a lot less, it's not as vibrant, but it's still pretty vibrant, you know, to my eyes currently. But it does add that little bit of extra to help just have it pop a little bit more. There's definitely a lot of straps here, you know, straps on the arms here, this just to hold the shoulder part down, these to hold this gauntlet like wrist piece in, which is kind of annoying because sometimes it likes to pop the hands off depending on what angle you're at. But I like the nice coloring of it. It's got a, you know, the maroon in the middle with a little bit of lighter brick red, and then you got the blue all around it with a slightly lighter and then almost a slightly darker than that blue. There's just a lot of color contrast here and a lot of color differences that are making me happy just enough where I'm not going to be miserable about it, because I'm not. And it just continues down to the bottom here, where we've got even more blues, a little bit more light blue to break it up. There's some lineage here at almost at the knees, but just right above it, which I feel like gives him just enough clearance where he can get a bit more posability out of it. Super duper cool. I like the belt. Very interesting looking belt overall. It's got nothing really going on the back, but the front, it's got plenty of charm to it. The only part I don't like is these boots. I mean they're split cut, but for some reason his feet just don't like standing, and I'm not quite sure what it is. But the boots have like this tire look, like it's just like a dark black. And it's not really speaking to me as much. Everything else looks nice, except for the boots. The boots are just not doing it for me. And I'm not quite sure what it is. So like I said previously, this guy does not have the head, like the helmet piece. However, if you have a spare neck piece and a spare helmet piece, you can, technically speaking, without breaking him, take him, prop him up. It's not going to look right because I don't have a long enough neck, but you can technically get something going that looks a little bit more comic-y. Obviously, in the comics, the hair's not kind of hanging out as much. It's all like one piece. But you do get something going here where it almost looks cool enough where I feel like keeping it at points. The eyes don't light up. I don't think I have the batteries in them. If I could find like a longer neck piece or like a neck extender maybe, just to have it sitting up a little bit more, because it is just like loosely hanging in there. The neck is more just to hold it in place. But I feel like I've got something going here, you know? I think it doesn't look too bad. It just needs to be slightly higher. I kind of almost wish this was in the movie, because this doesn't look half bad. But, you know, for the final one, they got to get all that expression in, so they don't have time to put the neck on, or the headpiece on. He's all Chris Pratt, which is fine by me, because he does do quite a lot in this movie. Anyway, why don't we finally pull out the rest of the Guardians here, and then some, and see the whole lineup of Guardians of the Galaxy that I have so far. So here's everything we have from Guardians 3, currently in a 6-scale form. Obviously, the only thing left currently to get is Nebula. I was really hoping like most people, you know, Drax and Mantis would drop at some point afterwards. Doesn't seem like that's happening. Maybe at some point down the line we'll get a High Evolutionary. Some third-party company will finally get around to it. I would pick that up. It's a cool design. I'd love to grab it, especially to have the big bad of the movie in 6-scale form. I think that'd be cool. But again, for now, not much you can do about it. But I'm happy that we've got Rocket, Star-Lord, Cosmo, Groot, and even Adam Warlock here. I would have never expected to get Adam Warlock and Cosmo. Obviously, you'd get Rocket, you know, Star-Lord, and maybe Groot. Those three are easy ones. But to get these other ones is super cool. I'm glad they're giving Nebula a second chance at 6-scale life, because I know it was very iffy originally with the Infinity War one. But I'm glad we're getting to see that now as well. Hopefully Nebula doesn't take too long to get here, because I do want to see all of these guys together finally. It's just a matter of when. Now, let's put them back to their home and check out articulation on this guy. I realized as I was about to do articulation, I probably should compare the two Chris Pratts that I do have as well, so you can see that. And obviously you can see that there's been a lot of progress over the years for Hot Toys. The sculpts have gotten a little bit stronger. They haven't been, I mean, they still reuse sculpts all the time, but obviously updating a sculpt as opposed to reusing a sculpt is always very nice. I say like they haven't just reused the same Andrew Garfield sculpt like 3 times now. That's a different problem though entirely. But you can see they're about the same height, so it's good that that stayed consistent. But obviously the outfits are a lot different. The builds are slightly different. The body is just ever so slightly different. But it's nice to see just how different things can be in just a couple years, because this is the Infinity War one. I've been trying to get my hands on a Guardians 2 one, because that's my favorite. I want the long trench coat eventually at some point. But I mean, the Guardians 2 one without the long trench coat, it's just the Infinity War one pretty much. So it hasn't changed much in a while. But it is nice to see something else. That's not just, you know, the outfit he's worn for 4 movies. Anyway, now let's finally move on and do some articulation. So Star-Lord here does get some nice freedom at the head. Life ending 360 degrees, with an up that not very, and a down and a back and forth. Arm goes up, not much. Up, not much on the other side. Yuck. That's back actually a bit more than forward. 90, a little bit more than 90. Free articulation there. Not much crunch. Well, a little bit maybe. Not too bad of a spread. Leg goes up way more than you needed to. Doesn't go back any, but the knee bends pretty nicely. And you get some free articulation at the ankle, because it is indeed, at the end of the day, a split cut boot. So you can get him into some decent poses. And this has the same kind of color scheme as like Clone Wars Anakin. Now that I'm looking at it, it's got like blue and maroon or like darker colors. I like it. It speaks to me. Anyway, let's wrap up and get to the end of the video, shall we then? Giving Star-Lord finger guns was an absolute mistake, because he will never, ever, ever have his real guns in his hands ever again. This is how he will look until he melts away, in whatever horrific accident that this figure ends up in. But for now, he is going to chill like this, and obviously this is the infamous scene where Groot and Star-Lord are in the fight of their lives. They're in a face-off, and Star-Lord forgets his guns, so he has to pull out the old trusty finger guns, Tales from the Borderlands style. More like, I just saw finger guns and I thought it'd be funny to do this, and I didn't want to go through all the effort of trying to get all the guns out from Groot, because all of my stuff, I just put it away, and I don't feel like unputting it away and then putting it away again, because everything's so nice and clean right now. I like when things are nice and clean, and so this is nice and clean. But what I am going to say is I'm quite happy with this guy. Other than his boots issue where he struggles to stand up sometimes, I don't really have a problem with this guy. The only issue I had was, just like most things with a magnet, the magnet came off. So I had to re-glue that back on. But other than that, there wasn't really a problem with this figure. I mean, the accessories are nice. There's not a lot, but he doesn't really have a lot in the movie. And he just looks really good. It's a really nice Chris Pratt sculpt for the most part. Obviously, like I said, it's a little softer than the prototype, but that happens to everybody but Groot. Sometimes the prototype looks great, like 89 Batman, and then it turns out really different. And that's just, because it gets sent through, and it has all these different, checks and stuff, just the things that happen. But what happened is, I've found that I'm happy with this guy, and I'm hoping that Nebula comes out and looks just as good to wrap up a pretty solid line of figures, since Nebula will probably be the last of the line. Let me know how you feel about this guy. Is this your favorite Star-Lord? Did you pick him up? Which one is your favorite Star-Lord? Most people seem to like the Guardians 2 or the Guardians 1. Obviously, the long trench coat really helps. But let me know which one is your favorite of the Hot Toys Star-Lord figures overall. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. Even comment whatever you want, because, the channel's been doing pretty nice recently, and I'd love to keep the momentum going, because it's been a wild ride so far, and I'd love to keep that wild ride going with the momentum that you guys bring to every video. Makes it a lot more worthwhile when I know you guys are really enjoying it. So make sure to let me know you're enjoying it by doing those things that people do to enjoy it. And with all of that out of the way, I've been me, and you've been you, and thank you for watching another 6-scale figure review. Hopefully you join me next time when we review something maybe new. I will see you then.